this is what you've done before. In algebra, you might have had an equation that looked like this. Don't write this down. You've already done this. 2x plus 1 equals 7. And you spend a lot of time solving these equations. What would be the first thing that you would do in this equation right here?
Oh, divide by 2x.
Okay, you're close, but the first thing is subtract.
Oh.
Yeah. See, I would subtract 1 from both sides. That would give me 2x equals 6. And then you divide by 2.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, you spend a lot of time doing this type of equation, but that's when there is no exponent. So today what we're going to do is we're going to solve quadratic equations that have an exponent of 2. And the way you do that, write this up. Put an arrow right here and write down factor. Come on, I'm teaching. You're not talking right now. Pick it up. Yeah. We talking right now. Hush. Okay, so write down factor. You don't have to put this equation down because you're already good at this. Okay. Write down factor, and then we'll go on to the next slide. Okay, I'll spell it for you. F-A-C-T-O-R.
I know how to spell. I need
She wasn't taught. He wasn't. He said don't write down on the.
Okay, so we're looking at this right here. This is a quadratic equation. It's got an exponent of 2. And the way I'm going to solve that, to find out what x is, I got to factor that. Now, what method of factoring would I use on this? Okay. Not trial and error.
Like turn.
Okay, not like term.
Well,
GCF. GCF.
that one I mean.
Okay. If you look at both terms, they have a common factor, which is x.
Yep.
So y'all pull out an x. And I want you to try to fill in the parentheses right there.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Yeah. X minus 1.
Oh yeah.
Okay, now I'm almost done with this problem. I've got it factored, and here's how we're going to find out what x is. Okay, I'm going to explain this one time. It's going to be a little bit weird to you. You really don't have to understand why it works, but when I show you how it works, we're just going to do it every time the same way. Okay. All right. Let's say I had a.
Teachers, please call the interruption again. You may now go back into Power School. I need for everyone to please check your attendance for today only. You may have to go back and re-enter today's attendance. The other attendance issues have been resolved, but please check.
Okay. Let's say I had some mystery number times another mystery number, but I told you that when you multiply them, the answer was 0. What would that tell you about the mystery numbers? One of them's got to be a 0. That's right. One of these has to be a 0. It's either this one, or it's this one, or they're both 0, right? So look what we got up here. We got some mystery number here on the left, times another mystery number, say all that in the parentheses, and the product of those two is 0. So y'all know that one of those has to be 0, or both of them have to be 0. So if you don't understand it, that's fine. This is how we're going to solve it. We're going to divide the problem, and we're going to say the left side equals 0, and we're going to say that the right side equals 0. Because one of them's got to be 0, right? So, or both. So we're going to say the left is 0, the right is 0. Go ahead and write that down. Draw the line with that x equals 0, x minus 1 equals 0. Now on the left, there's no work to do, right? But on the right side, I've got to get that -1 to the other side of the equation. So how do you do that? That's right. Add 1 here, add 1 here. That's x equals 1. So the final answer of this equation, this quadratic equation, is x equals a 0, comma, 1. Could be either answer. I'm going to tell you a little secret. Whatever the exponent is, that's how many answers you're going to have in your final answer. So if the exponent was like 3, you'd have 3 answers. So there's 2 answers, 0 and 1. Okay. A little bit different from solving those linear equations from Algebra 1. Okay. I'm not, well, you know, pre-algebra. Talking about 8th grade math. It's like a pre-algebra. Yes, Josh, please. Not really less. Wait till we're done. All right, let's look at this example right here. Y'all fill in this blank. 3t squared plus 12t. What method of factoring are we going to do? GCF. Okay. Remember, trial and error is for a 3-term polynomial. So we're going to take out the GCF. And what's the common factor? 3 more
T.
T. So y'all take out a 3t. See if you can fill in the inside of the parentheses. Good. Not 12. Now I looked on 2 people's papers and they had t plus 4. Remember, because 3 times 4 is 12? Okay. All right, and from this point right here, see we got a left side and a right side. We're going to cut the problem into 2 pieces. On the left, we're going to say 3t equals 0. And on the right side, we're going to say t plus 4 equals 0. Now, how do you solve this? What's this? This isn't subtraction right here. We took
You don't do nothing on that side.
well, that's the division's going to solve that. See, 3 times t, the opposite of times is to divide by 3. But Jarquez is really not going to do anything to the answer because 0 divided by 3 is still 0. So
You just take the 3 off?
yeah, just take the 3 off. Okay. How about on this side? Well, how do you solve that one? Subtract. So you have t equals -4. So you got 2 answers again. Doesn't matter what order you write them in, -4 and 0, or you can write 0 and -4. Okay. All right, let's go to the next. In this box, we got something a little different. X squared minus x1. Oh, by the way, all the equations, before you solve them, they have to equal 0 or you can't solve it. You gotta make it equal 0 if it doesn't. Okay, did you recognize that special pattern as the difference of squares? Did you all hear that? You said it over there? Okay, so I'm just making a note. This is difference of squares. And I know it's been a long weekend, so you probably don't remember how we did a difference of squares. We got x and x. What about the 81? 9, that's right, 9. 9 and 9. One's a plus and one's a minus. Okay, divide the problem in half, so we're doing the left side and the right side. X plus 9 equals 0. X minus 9 equals 0. You notice anything about the answers and what we started with? No, I'm talking about, I did, a lot of people say things, but I didn't hear everything.
Same thing.
The same thing, except what's different? Look at this, this says -9, but that was a +9. And that one was -9, this says +9. How about that? It's maybe a little shortcut. Hey, wait a minute, before y'all go on to the next one, there's a shortcut way of writing this in mathematics. If you got a +9 and a -9, instead of writing it like this, I'm gonna write, or you can write it like this, x equals plus -9. Okay? All right, put that down. Let's go to the next one. Y'all flip the page. And put it down. Okay. Okay. Y'all fill in that blank. I bet y'all know what method we're going to solve this. That's right. Any whisper to me, trial and error on this one. I'll just put T and E, trial and error. Okay, what you looking for, factors of 12. That when you add them, they make 8. So what times what makes 12? But add to 8. Okay, you got 3 and 4. That
Yeah,
makes 7.
6 and
6 and 2 make 8. So that's my answer right there. Well, that's part of it. My answer's not 6 and 2. Watch out. It's going to be x plus 6, x plus 2. So when I split it, what's my answer going to be? That's right, x minus 6, x minus 2. Why? Because remember, I'll just fill it in here. And over here. Okay, so you got two answers. X equals a -6 and a -2. Is that better? Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay. All right. Now trial and error this time. Grouping.
Grabbing. I mean, moving.
Okay. Grouping. Okay, so that means we're going to put parentheses around the first two and parentheses around the second two. And what's the common factor of the first group? Yes, x. So I'm going to pull out an x, and that leaves us with x minus 2. What's the common factor in the second group?
5.
You gotta say -5 because it starts with a negative. So we're gonna say -5. We can't put x minus 10 there. Good, so it's x minus 2. Why did it change to a minus? That's right, 2 negatives make a positive. We pulled out one of the negatives, so it's gotta be another negative. Okay, so you see your common factor right here, this one and this one, that's one of your answers, x minus 2. And the other one is x minus 5. And remember, this all equals 0. Yeah, that's right. If I split the problem in half, x equals 2. than 5. Let's see if y'all can do this one without me.
X plus 3 plus 0.
Yeah. Okay, and so you cut the problem in half, so the left side x equals 0, and right side x plus 3 equals 0. So what's your final answer?
0, -3.
That's right. X equals 0 and a -3. Where'd the negative come from?
Positive.
Right, if this one's positive, then your answer is negative. You just change the sign. See? Okay. Okay, how many people got pulled on GPS there? All right, nobody wants to admit it. Let's go to the next one. Okay, try this. Oh, maybe it wasn't. Okay, let's go to the next one. Y'all see if you can do this one without me. Okay? All right, number 9. Does that look like it's got a GTF? Let me give you a little hint though. After you take out the GCF, see if you see something else. After you factor out the GCF. What is the GCF? 2. It's 2. 2 will come out. So y'all take out the GCF. That'll be 4a squared minus 9. Right? But you see something else up there now? Difference of squares, yeah. Difference of squares. What's the square root of 4?
2.
And the square root of 9. See? So that's difference of squares. Alright, so it's going to be 2 parentheses 2a minus 3 and 2a plus 3 equals 0. Now I know my fast students who like to work ahead of me, I know they're stuck right here. Because looking at that, they're going, wait a minute. What in the world? Look, first of all, let me talk about this 2 right here, and then I'll talk about these numbers in here. See that 2 out there, folks? I can get rid of that 2 by dividing it into 0 over here. If I take and divide this by 2, that cancels. And if I do the left side of the equation, I got to do the right side of the equation. So what's 0 divided by 2? 0. It's gone. Okay, so you can just cross off the 2's on your papers right there. Now let's split the paper in half. The problem in half. On the left, we've got 2a minus 3 equals 0. And on the right, we've got 2a plus 3 equals 0. What do I do now? But before I divide by 2, I got to take care of this minus 3. What's the opposite of subtracting 3? Okay, so everybody add 3 to the 0. That gives you 2a equals 3. That's weird, isn't it? What do you do on this side? Subtract. So minus 3 minus 3. That gives you 2a equals negative 3. All right, now you can divide by 2. So we divide this by 2 and that by 2. So I get a equals 3 halves. That's right, it can be a fraction. Okay. And this one's going to be a equals what? Yeah, negative 3 halves. So my answer is a equals plus or minus 3 halves. Now, why did this one turn out to be a fraction and the others haven't been fractions? Do you notice anything different in it? It's got a number in front of the variable. Look, right here. Anytime you got a number in front of the variable, you will be dividing and you might end up with a fraction. Let me show you the last one. See the last one? We had x and x, no number in front of the variable, so we ended up with nice, easy answers. But if you got a number in front of the variable like this one, 2a and 2a, then you might end up with a fraction. Okay? No. Okay, number 10. The trial and error, you're doing factors of 6, which could be like 2 and a 3, but when you add those, that gives you 5. You got to have a negative 5, so that means the 2 and 3 got to be negative. So here's your factors, x minus 2 and x minus 3. That means the final answer is opposite of those. The final answer is x positive 2 and x positive 3. Okay. Alright, let's go to the next one. Okay, copy down that 2t squared plus 6t plus 4. What factoring method are you thinking? Good, GCF. That's right. But also, after you get done GCF, there'll be something else there. That's right. That's right. So if I start with GCF, I know that they all have a 2 in common. So 2t squared plus 3t plus 2. And now we'll try the trial and error method. So we look at the factors. 2 and 1, that's right. Make 3. 2 and 1. Looking for factors of 2. It's 2 times 1 that make 3 when I add 2 plus 1 to get 3. Do you remember the rule about the number in front? That number? No, this is not a fraction because it doesn't say 2t. It's on the outside. Divide into 0 and it's gone, right? You take this 2 and divide it into the 0 right there, and so that 2 is gone. You can cross out that 2 right there. Just cross it off. Alright, so you divide your answer, x. Did I say x? Sure did. Me and this bird always laughing at students writing x and it's another letter. So it's t plus 2 equals 0 and t plus 1 equals 0. So the final answer is going to be, say it again, t equals negative 2 and t equals negative 1. Okay, I know what y'all think. Y'all thinking, man, I got this. Why is there another page of examples? I mean, you got it, right? But I want y'all to look at this example on the next page. Yeah, it's supposed to say 0, and it doesn't. And by the way, it's a typo. It's not negative 2. Y'all change that with me right now? It's a 12. So scratch that out and just write 12. Now, how are we going to fix this? Because we can solve that. Maybe GCF, I don't know. What we need to do though is get 0 on the left and get that 12 back on the right side where it's supposed to be. So how would I move a positive 12 to the left side? Subtract 12, that's right. So I'm going to take this 12 and I'm going to move it over here. And I'm going to change the sign on it from a positive 12 to a negative 12. Now don't put it with the 4 because those aren't like terms. It's going to look like this. X squared plus 4x minus 12 equals 0.
Now we do the trial and error.
Yeah, if I gave you now you do trial and error. That's right. Okay. So factors of 12 make 4. These 6 and 2. Doesn't that make 4 when you subtract?
What is the negative 20?
It is a negative 12. Like,
Positive 6, negative 2.
yeah, isn't that right? I'll just make a little list over here. If you got it, you go on factors of negative 12, negative 6, 2, or a positive 6 and negative 2. This makes negative 4, this makes 4. And I want it to be positive, so it's got to be that one right there. Okay, so to split your problem, the left side will be negative 6, and the right side will be positive 2. Okay, 13. All right, number 13. It's got a blank in here. Fill in this blank. 5y. Okay, it's supposed to say equals 0. So you got to move the 5y to the other side. So if I move the 5y over here, it'll be minus 5y. But don't put that 5y with the 5y squared because they're not like terms. Put them in order, in descending order. So write down 5y squared minus 5y equals 0. Now that's not trial and error, is it? That's GCF right there. They got a 5 in common and they got something else in common. A y in common. So pull out the GCF, 5y. See if you can figure out what goes on the inside. There's 2 things on the inside. What goes on the inside?
5 plus 1?
Well, mine.
Minus.
Yeah, y.
Yeah. So y'all put y minus 1 on the inside. Okay, so the left half of this is going to be 5y equals 0. And the right side is going to be y minus 1 equals 0. What's the answer on the left? 0. And what's the answer on the right? 1. So we got 2 answers. Y equals 0, comma, 1. Okay, anybody lost on that one? No? All right, we only got 3 more to go. 3? Isn't it 3? Okay. Number 14. Let's see if y'all know what to do on this one.
Did you go by 14?
This one right here will be this whole thing. Add 1. Y'all know what to do? Same one in the front. Yeah. Come on, y'all. Okay, so when you moved 81 over, you made it minus 81 over here. So you wrote x squared minus 81, and then you recognize that as the difference of squares. So it's x minus 9 and x plus 9 equals 0. You split the problem. One answer is going to be a positive 9. The other one's going to be a negative 9. So you got x equals a plus or minus 9. Same answer as that other example we did. Okay, the last slide has two examples. Oh, I'm sorry.
If you were doing that right there, you put plus over minus two, what would happen if you put minus over two?
You mean like this? Like that? Nothing would happen to you in my class, but I want you to know, if you're going on to like the next math, I don't want your next year's teacher to laugh at you. You know, you got it upside down, okay? So. Okay. All right, number 15. It's got 2x there. Obviously, we're going to move the 2x by subtracting 2x to the other side, but I want you to pay attention about where to put the 2x. You, remember I said you got to put it in descending order from the highest exponent down? So that 2x, that minus 2x, has to go in the middle between those two. So it'll be x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. It goes in the middle. If you don't put it in the middle, then you can't do trial and error. Okay? So what factors are we looking for? Negative 3 is making negative 2. So I'm looking at factors of negative positive 3 and negative 1. That makes it 2. Is that what we're looking for, class?
Negative 3.
Okay, so we got the signs backwards. Negative 3, positive 1 makes negative 2. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so it's going to be x minus 3, x plus 1. That means my final answer. Do I know what the final answer would be? Positive 3 and a negative 1. Oh, so you were jumping way ahead of us. Okay, we got one. Put in there negative 5 and yeah, negative 6. Now, when you move the negative 5x over, instead of minus 5x, it would be plus.
You gotta move both.
Both of them. And make sure you put it in order. Okay, so you're moving these both over here, and you're going to put it in order. It's going to be x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0. Yes, it is trial and error. Factors of 6 will make 5. 2 and 3, that's right. 2 and 3 make 5. So 1 of them is 2. 1 of them is 3. Yeah, the final answer is x negative 2, x negative. Okay? Okay, well, I'm going to give you an assignment. What we're going to do is we're going to go around the room, and one person will be responsible for putting up the problem. Like we'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll just go in order. Okay? Just do it like that. We might run out of problems with all the people we have. Miss Bird, are you going to pull some out? Yeah. Okay. Miss Bird's going to pull some out, so maybe everybody in here will get to go. By the way, we're going to put them on board, but you're responsible for showing your work on your own paper and not just copying the answers down like some people in first block did. They didn't get credit for it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, shut off that time.
Yes.
It's still working.